The thing that I value the most is my time with my family. We're all living here on borrowed time. My whole life I wanted to own all this property. I wanted to own all these cars and own homes all over the world. You sacrifice a lot for that kind of success. And you give up a lot of your time. And at the end of the day, when you leave this world, you leave with nothing. If you think about it, you're living your whole life to obtain more stuff, where in 50 years from now, the reality is probably somebody that doesn't even know your name is going to be living in that home that you worked so hard to build. And that watch that you paid $500,000 for is probably going to be on somebody's wrist that never knew who you were.
Today, I'm going to introduce you to a very special human being. My brother, Paul Salib. He is an extraordinary entrepreneur, has done all the things I couldn't even list off, and a father to two beautiful children, a devout father to two beautiful children. And I could not have imagined the journey that we've been on. And so I'm going to ask you, tell me a little bit about what you've discovered over this past year, and what are some of the things you were dealing with before?
This past year, I've created a life that I only imagined living. First of all, I am 13 months sober now, which is a huge accomplishment for me. And after so many years of abusing substances, whether it was recreational substances or alcohol, or even just women, and living a life that was so, it was so chaotic. And to be honest with you, I wanted to start off by saying, I'm not here to preach to anybody as being some spiritual leader. I'm somebody who's made many mistakes in life, but I also want my kids to understand that what happened yesterday doesn't dictate your future. And we're gonna go through mistakes in life, and we're gonna do things that when you're younger, I think you say, I regretted this decision I made. But when you get older, you understand, I had to go through that to be where I am today. And if I had to go through everything that I went through to be where I am today, I'll take every single moment.
Now, just to paint that picture, you lived a life that people look at and would really admire. Culture celebrates all of the things that you've done, the cars that you drove, the places you've been, the watches you had. You lived this really extraordinary life for many, many years. What did it feel like?
Somebody said to me one time, a very successful man, he said, if you measure success from zero in the bank, you're gonna live a very sad and unfulfilled life. And everything that I said I wanted in life would make me happy, I got it. And then I was less happy than driving a car that was $800. Not $800 a month, I purchased it for $800. And I was so happy in that car. Than a car that I bought for $600,000. I think people they glorify these items, and you think that when you get these things, you're gonna feel fulfilled, but you don't.
Right. So how is that? Has there been things that you were chasing that once you got them, how did you feel?
I felt really empty.
Yeah.
I felt like I had nothing.
Yeah.
So, to be honest with you, it's difficult for me to come on camera right now. It's very, very difficult for me to do this. But driving here after dropping off the kids, I said to myself, if one boy could watch this that looks online and sees these moments Like these moments in people's lives, it's not a reality.
Yeah.
Sometimes people snap 50 pictures before they post it. And you see these moments and you compare yourself to these people and think, why isn't my life like this? You think, why am I waking up and I'm feeling anxious? Why am I waking up and I'm feeling depressed? These people, they're in St. Bart's, they're so happy, they're in Saint-Tropez, they're popping $10,000 bottles. But I promise you, I know those people. I was those people. They're not happy.
You know, and I think just to like capture that, I know you don't have social media. You do not like being on video. When I asked you, you had to sit with it. And you said that to me in the car. You said if one person could see this and it could make a difference for them, if one little boy could see this and it can make a difference for him, I'll do it. And I know how uncomfortable it is for you to do it. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it's very uncomfortable because I'm not somebody that puts their life on camera anymore, and I'm not somebody that likes to be on camera. I like to live a private and quiet life. And my life before was the complete opposite. When I had social media, if you looked at my page, I'm sure there's a lot of people that looked at my life and said, I wish I had this person's life. But I would look at somebody walking their dog on the street saying, I wish I had their life.
That's actually really great. So what would you say to the person watching who's looking at all of these social feeds with the fancy vacations, with the cars, with the watches, with the women, with all the things, feeling like they're not enough? In your experience being there, what does that cover up?
I don't think, first of all, like that it's a problem to, if you really like a car and you want to buy the car, buy the car. If you really enjoy this home that you're building and it's a big home, build the home. And if you love watches, buy watches. But I can honestly say, in every single watch that I've owned, I couldn't change the date on one of them. So why did I buy the watch? I bought the watch so people could look at it when I was out and say, look, this guy succeeded in life. It wasn't that I liked watches. I actually don't like the weight on my wrist at all. The only reason why I wear this piece of jewelry, it's because it was given to me by somebody who's very important to me. Otherwise, I don't wear any jewelry. But there's many people that do love jewelry, and if you love it, wear it. But if you're wearing it for other people to see what you have, it's just going to continue to give you this empty feeling.
And you make a really good point, because it has nothing to do with the jewelry.
No, it has nothing to do with the jewelry. There's a lot of amazing people that I know that have beautiful jewelry, and they really enjoy these pieces of jewelry. But then there's a lot of people that I know that are just chasing after the next piece and the next piece. And it's their way of like hiding under truly how they feel and what they feel.
So when you started to discover that, I think part of your journey, you got there early. You got the stuff, you got the car, you got the watch, you got the house, you got the women, you did the things early. And you got there, and not saying anything bad about those things. I love beautiful things. But beautiful things without examining your internal world. What did you discover about where true joy, true fulfillment can emerge from?
If I didn't do this work like right now, I wouldn't be sitting here in Costa Rica with you. I wouldn't be watching our children play. I wouldn't be living the life that I'm living right now. I would probably be in Miami with my children, taking them for $1,000 steak that they could really care less about, and putting on an expensive outfit and going downstairs and seating them in a Rolls Royce that they could really care less about. I feel like when you're present in your life and you're living a life of peace, you really get to understand what matters in life.
So being on a journey and starting to do some deep inner work. It's been a deep journey, right? Going back,
It has, yeah.
unpack. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, what are some of the things that we've had to do or that we've done together, and not in however it's comfortable for you?
Well, none of this is comfortable, and you're not meant to feel comfortable when you're doing this sort of work.
Yeah.
It would be like somebody giving you parts to a car and telling you, build this car for me.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know where to start. So I think that analogy goes towards rebuilding your life also.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're 20, 25, 30, 50, you can do it at any age.
Yeah.
And you could live a life that is truly fulfilling to you.
Yeah. What matters to you now? What are the things that you value the most?
The thing that I value the most is my time with my family. We're all living here on borrowed time. Like, you know, my whole life I wanted to own all this property. I wanted to own all these cars and own homes all over the world and own all this stuff. But you sacrifice a lot for that kind of success. And you give up a lot of your time. And at the end of the day, when you leave this world, you leave with nothing.
Totally.
So if you think about it, you're living your whole life to obtain more stuff, more stuff, more stuff. Where in 50 years from now, the reality is probably somebody that doesn't even know your name is going to be living in that home that you worked so hard to build. And that car that you worked so hard to buy, it's going to be scrap metal.
Yeah.
And that watch that you paid $500,000 for is probably going to be on somebody's wrist that never knew who you were.
How did, when you began the inner work, and you're right, none of it's comfortable,
No.
how did it change the relationship with your children? What did you discover about being a parent? And how were you able to connect with your children now with this realization that relationships matter to me most? My family matters to me most.
My relationship with my kids is the best. Like, I never imagined having a relationship like this with my children. Every moment I'm so present in their life. At the end of the day, I wanted to work to give my kids a life that I didn't have. But they didn't care if they were in a Mercedes or a Mazda. They didn't know if they were in a Ferrari or a Toyota.
Yeah.
And they didn't know if they were at the Ritz-Carlton or the Holiday Inn. But to me, the way that I was succeeding was by giving them this stuff. But I remember some Christmas, I would buy them so many gifts. And all they cared about was the box. They didn't even care what was inside of it.
Totally. And how did it shift? I think so many men and women can relate to that. Like, we want to give all this stuff to our children. We want to give them a good life, not realizing what it really takes to support the human spirit. What did you discover about your parenting? What did you change about your parenting that built a stronger connection with your children?
I think now that I've done this work, I understand my children's feelings more. I don't try to tell them don't feel like that. I allow them to process their feelings rather than tell them it's wrong for you to feel that way. You shouldn't feel that way. I was reading this book lately, and the woman was saying, what do you expect if you tell your kid to shut off the TV? Do you think that he's not going to freak out? It's normal for your kid to freak out. Or you take this piece of candy away from him. He's going to get upset. But there's a lot of times that a parent would yell at their child for feeling that way. But the only thing that that's doing is suppressing their feelings. And it's teaching them to suppress their feelings.
That's right.
Which I think later on in life is going to lead to a lot of things. And our father didn't talk about feelings at all. So when I was older and I discovered this little pill at 25 years old, that allowed me not to feel anything. I ended up taking these pills for 12 years of my life. And all I did was suppress my feelings because I didn't understand them, because nobody talked to me about them. But now that I've done this work, I can talk to my kids about the way that they feel, and I can speak to them about processing their feelings rather than suppressing them. Because the last thing that I want is my kids to grow up and discover weed or alcohol or sex or whatever the case is, like food, and discover this item that's going to calm their mind down and then continue to take it for years to come, which will lead to addiction.
Yeah. I think so many men hearing you can relate to being taught to suppress their feelings, burying them, pushing them down. What would you tell men that are silently suffering about their feelings, thinking they're the only ones?
Everybody has feelings. I know some really, really tough people that wish they weren't alive.
Yeah.
And you would see these guys out, and you would see them in their fancy cars and their expensive watches and with all these girls around. But they suffer from severe, severe depression and severe anxiety.
Yeah.
And the reason why they're out and they're drinking and they're taking drugs is because they want to escape their reality.
Yeah.
At this point in my life, I don't have to escape my reality. My reality is, it's incredible. It's a life that I never thought that I would have. And I'm not saying that every single person that goes out and drinks alcohol is depressed or anxious or unhappy. But a lot of people are.
When you started doing the work and you were on a journey of sobriety and you had to feel things now, what was that like?
It was very difficult. It was very difficult because I started doing this work at 39 years old.
Yeah.
So at 39 years old, I woke up one day and realized, God willing, I'm halfway through my life. And everything that I thought I wanted that would bring me happiness, I got it. And yet I felt more empty than before I started obtaining all of this stuff.
And so when you had to start feeling things like anger, when you weren't escaping anymore, when you weren't using substances, and those feelings came up, how did you learn how to process or manage them? What did you have to do?
I think everybody in life has to have an outlet, whether it's meditation or yoga or walking. You need to have something that brings you peace in your life, because we're constantly around noise. Constantly. Whether it's your phone or social media or just walking on the street. You need to create some form of silence in your life. And my suggestion is to wake up and give yourself 30 to 40 minutes of complete silence before you do anything. Because when you pick up that phone and you start scrolling, whether it's YouTube or social media, that energy that you've now taken in is extremely heavy for a person. I know I may not have social media, but I go on YouTube all the time. And I realize the reason why I go on YouTube is to escape my thoughts and to escape the way that I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll just be sitting at a stoplight and I pick up my phone and I check my email. I know I have no email. It would show me if I had an email. Yet I'm picking up my phone just to detach from my feelings.
There's such a beautiful awareness. You speak about it from a place of awareness. You watch yourself do it. What are some of the new habits that you traded for old habits?
I try to walk every day. Walking has really helped me. And I even find sometimes I walk, I put headphones in and I have nothing playing on the headphones. So I catch myself in old habits. And I feel like it's a nervous way of just detaching from what is going on around me. But sometimes I have no noise coming, but it gives me this level of comfort. I've tried to meditate a lot. It's not easy. It's very difficult to sit there because you're sitting there with your thoughts. But some mornings when I'm about to meditate, my son will come out and he asks me, "Can I meditate with you?" And I just think it's so incredible that he's so curious about doing this kind of work at 12 years old.
Yeah.
When people used to talk to me about this stuff, like spirituality and meditation and yoga, I thought they were so weird. Like, honestly, like I thought that these people are just people that are just so detached from reality. Like you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But these are people that are completely in tune with reality. And again, I'm not saying that people that are successful or have cars or money or watches are detached from reality.
Yeah.
That's not the case at all. But a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I realize that if I don't do this work, I'm going to pass down generational trauma to my children. And the things that I don't fix, I'm going to pass down to my children. And I see that. I see that not just with myself. I see it with many people's kids around me. And I'm fortunate that I have a lot of good people in my life, but I also see a lot of people that I don't want to copy the things that they've done.
Yeah.
And then have my children pay for the mistakes that they're not correcting.
Yeah.
And then I see some amazing men in my life who do this work and they show the definition of wealth, and that's in their family. Their sons still at 25 years old, 30 years old, want to spend time with them on weekends. They want to go to the movies with their dad on a Friday. They want to go for a walk with them after work.
Yeah.
That to me is wealth. I watched an interview with the owner of Kinko's, and he sold his company for a few $1 billion. And they asked him, what's the definition of wealth? And he said, true wealth is when your children contact you when they need nothing from you.
Yeah.
I don't want my kids to grow up and just call me because I pay their mortgage or I'm giving them a car. I also realize too that if you don't show your kid what it means to be in your family, he's going to find it through somebody else. And that's what happened with me. Our dad did the best that he could, you know, like.
And we love him.
And I love him. And it wasn't easy for him to be a single father of 3 kids.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. I just have my kids Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. And it's a lot. It's a lot being a parent.
Yeah.
But you realize in life, everybody is doing the best that they can with where they are in life.
Yeah.
And our dad did the best that he could, but he never talked to us about feelings.
Yeah.
And that's why when I discovered substances in my early 20s, I continued to take them because it suppressed the way that I feel. And I didn't have to feel anxious. I didn't have to feel depressed. I didn't have to feel anything.
Yeah. And who did you attach to? So in kind of coming into your adult life without mentorship, without healthy emotional development, what did you find? What world did you discover?
I don't want to like put anybody down or what anybody does like in life. But the reality is you're going to discover a life that it's not good. Like when you don't understand what it means to be a part of your family, you're going to find it in other guys.
Yep.
And you're going to find it with other people.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to start doing a lot of things that later on in life you'll regret.
Yeah. And this is where parents discovering like healthy attachment is everything. Keeping their kids close, right?
Yeah.
How has, as you've been on this journey and discovered things and are finding a new peace internally, how has it changed who you want to spend time with? How has it changed what you do socially? How has it changed what your circle looks like?
I think everybody like that you encounter in your life, you encounter for a reason.
Yeah.
I've met some amazing people in the 40 years that I've been alive.
Yeah.
But where I am in my life, the people that I hung out with in my past, they're not interested in hanging out with me.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in hanging out with them.
Yeah.
And it's not in any judgmental way. Everybody has their journey, and everybody has a path. And a lot of people too that I was hanging out with, they're younger than me.
Yeah.
And at 35 or 36 or 37 years old, when people would talk to me about this kind of work, I would completely shrug it off.
Yeah.
So it's not saying this in a judgmental way, like
Yeah.
any of my friends from the past are not good people.
Yeah.
They're all amazing people doing the best that they can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's just it. Everybody is doing the best that they can. And you understand that you're never going to change a person.
Yeah.
You need to see people where they're at
Yeah.
in a non-judgmental way.
Yes.
And then you place them where you want to
Yes.
in your life.
Yes.
Because there's nothing that you're going to do to change that person.
I love the power of how you say that with non-judgment. That's the real power.
Because a lot of times people will look at another person and you'll say, I wouldn't do this if I was that person. Or
Yeah.
I wouldn't go and sell my body for items and sleep with this man for gifts.
Yeah.
But you have no idea what people have been through. You have no
100%.
idea the life that they grew up living.
Yeah.
So one time you said to me, there's no such thing as bad people. People may do bad things, but there's no such thing as bad people. And I didn't agree with you at the time. I said, I don't agree with you. But now I understand it a lot more. And a lot of people too, when they do things, I don't think that they're aware what they're doing to the person. I think a lot of people are living deeply unconscious lives, and they don't understand the effects that their actions have on other people.
Totally. And I think what you've put so beautifully is you can see that and make choices without needing to control or judge it. Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tell me about, I want to talk for a minute about intimate relationships and what you discovered about, you're someone who has been in many relationships with a lot of very beautiful women. And what have you discovered about partnership and connection in intimate relationships?
I think a lot of times, like when you're younger, you're basing a partnership off of a physical attraction.
Yeah.
So you meet somebody or you see somebody out and you think that they're beautiful, which on the outside they are. And a lot of times for girls, they see a guy and they see a guy with money, or they see a guy with a nice car and wearing nice clothes, and he's good looking, and they have this attraction, and you have this attraction with each other.
Yeah.
But I watched this woman one time and she said, don't go after a person that makes you feel like you're standing in front of fireworks. Go after a person that makes you feel like you're sitting in front of a fireplace.
I love that.
And I've been with some amazing people, like incredible people, like kind heart, amazing mothers,
Yeah.
good people. But at the end of the day, I think that the relationships was not based off of a true connection.
Yeah.
And it was based off of more a physical connection, or maybe to, like, I don't know how to describe it, but a feeling that they got, like when they were with me,
Yeah.
or a feeling that I got when I was with them. You know, I read this thing too, and it said that you'll know if you're in a right relationship when you see how your nervous system feels when you're next to that person. And there's a lot of times that I'm sure people that were with me, they felt super anxious with me. And there's a lot of times that I would feel the same with them.
Yeah.
When you're young, you want different things. Your priorities are different. But in life, we're all gonna run into problems. You're gonna deal with death in family. You're going to deal with illness. You're going to deal with your kids going through depression or anxiety. Problems are going to come about. Most people are not looking for a partner that they think about who is going to be the person that's going to be there for me when these things come up.
Yeah.
And now where I'm at, like in my life, I understand that the person that I'm going to be with, it's not going to be who I look at and I think is the hottest person.
Yeah.
Because looks is something that fades too.
Right.
I'm going to need to be with somebody that is doing work in my life and sees that I'm doing work in my life, and we come together and we want to create something better being in each other's lives.
Totally.
If you're looking for a relationship for somebody to complete like a part of you that's missing, two incompletes don't make a whole. It's never going to work.
Totally. And looking at relationships, and you brought up a really important point around life's going to give you problems. People will get sick, kids will be anxious, stuff's going to happen at work, at school, all the things, right?
Yeah.
How do the tools help you when you're dealing with really big challenges? Because the challenges don't change.
No, they don't. They only get bigger.
Yeah.
Because the reality is we're all going to pass away.
Yeah.
And there's going to be people that you love deeply that one day are here and the next day they're not.
Totally.
And I think death is one of the biggest, like, emotionally things that you have to prepare yourself for.
Yeah. Death can also be an invitation to live.
It can. And,
Yeah.
and you understand when you see people that are passing away at 25, 30,
Yeah.
35, 40, you don't know how much time you have.
Yeah. Totally.
And you want to spend time with people that value you, people that you value, people that are aligned with your beliefs,
Yeah.
and people that are where you are in your life.
Totally. And so, has it been helpful for you as things have happened, as families gotten sick, as people have had disagreements? How have you noticed your reactions now versus pre-doing the work?
It's so different. It's so different.
Yeah.
I had such a bad temper my whole life. I react to things differently now. The slightest thing would trigger me, whether it was with a person or in a relationship or with my children or with the mother of my kids. The slightest thing would trigger me. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. Like, there's still times that I do get triggered. I try to process things differently, and from where I was a year ago to where I am now, it's night and day.
Yeah. And you make another important point. Is the work a light switch or a journey?
It's a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
And even like there's times that I feel so good that I'm like, I feel so good, like I can cancel my session this week, or I can not go to the gym, or like food. I can overeat. But I realize the second you do something like that, it really does set you back. But the longer you stay on a routine, the better things will get. And it really does get better. Like, I picture life just even a year ago to now, and what a miracle. Like, I feel like I'm living. Just having a 13-month sobriety. I just feel like so blessed, because a lot of people lost their life to what I would do in one night. Forget many years of substance abuse. And again, like, it's not easy for me to go on camera and talk like this. But like I said to you, even if one boy watches this video and he realizes that things will get better, I'll take this interview.
And I know that to my core. I know how hard this was for you, and I know you're here with your heart fully.
Yeah, it is. It's very hard, because you're vulnerable. You're in a vulnerable position, and I'm not here to preach to anybody. Like, I'm only here to talk about my journey, and it was very hard. It was very, very hard. So I want people to understand that
it's uncomfortable.
No matter what place you're at, I promise you, like, it can get better, and it will get better. But it doesn't get better by just snapping your finger and saying, I wish for things to be better. You have to put the work in.
Well, I actually don't know anyone who's been more of a stand for this work than you, truly and authentically. The way you have shared it with so many people in your life, so many people in your friend group, so many past business partners and colleagues and friends. And I've witnessed the incredible generosity and stand and impact that you've had on people that no one will ever see and know. And I've witnessed the ripple effect that that's had on their relationships and their family. And so I feel your heart all in, and you just keep leaning more and more into that.
I see what this has done for people that are very close to me, and the difference that it's made in their lives, with their relationships with their partners, their business partners, their children. I just feel like so blessed to be able to introduce them to something like this. And I feel even more proud of what you're doing.
Thank you. Well, it's been a gift to be able to share this work with you and be on this path together and to be on this journey together. And it's created this whole new relationship we have, hasn't it?
It has, Pat. Like, it has. And I always say to people, you're my best friend.
Yeah. Such a gift. I get to chat with you every day, and we get to unpack, and we get to practice, and we get to be on this beautiful journey of life through expansion and growth and peace. And I could have not imagined this 5 or 10 years ago.
No, Pat, I couldn't have.
Yeah. And so it's been the ultimate gift. It's been a privilege to witness you start receiving everything that you deserve. Start to feel a sense of joy and peace and connection and freedom. And then to watch you want to impact so many other people, including why you're here today. I feel that fully. There's another organization that you really love that you discovered recently. Tell me about it.
A friend of mine, he introduced me to this company that's called Check on the Homies.
Yeah.
And I never met the girl. He told me that it's owned by this young girl. And I think it's incredible what they're doing, because they donate 100% of the profits to CAMH.
Yeah.
And it's bringing awareness to mental health and addiction, which is a huge cause. And I think CAMH is an incredible place that offers a lot of people help that don't have the finances to go and pay for a private rehab or private therapy.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's young kids that care to bring awareness to this and create this amazing clothing company, I think it's so cool.
Do you know the website? We're going to include it in the link.
It's www.checkonthehomies.com.
Check it out. If you're listening to this, check it out. John Paul's wearing the hat today. Their clothes is actually super cute.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah?
I love it.
Their sweatshirts
I ordered
have
everything, besides the t-shirt. They were sold out. So I was happy to see that it was sold out, because it's something that people really care to support.
Why do you think it's important that more people talk about their mental health?
Because people don't talk about it. As guys, you're told to suppress your feelings. You're not supposed to feel. You're not supposed to feel sad. You're not supposed to feel anxious. You're not supposed to feel depressed.
Yeah.
But I think, what happens if that's what I teach my son?
Yeah.
So right now, if I continue to feel this way and I continue to suppress my feelings for the rest of my life and come across as this big, tough person that has no feelings, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
My son's gonna then take the same.
Yeah.
He's gonna take the same path that I took.
And who's been really curious about standing beside you and learning some of what you're learning?
My son.
Yeah.
And it's so incredible to hear him, even last night, say to me, next week I'm going and I'm gonna talk to Patty and I'm gonna talk to her about her work. He was so excited to tell me, and it's something that he chose on his own. I didn't push it on him.
Yeah. I'm watching that bond with you and your kids just like blossom. And I know I keep telling you, like, be that person, be that person.
My kids are fortunate. They have amazing people in their life.
Yeah.
And even another thing, like, I wanted to touch on is their mother has moved on and she has a new relationship. And she has a child with her boyfriend. And beautiful child, and with an amazing guy. And the first few times that I heard my kids say, my stepfather, this is my stepfather, I'll be honest, it was something that made me feel like angry in my stomach.
Yeah.
And the beginning of her relationship with this person, I didn't make it easy on them. Like I was making it very difficult. I was reacting to things. I was getting upset at certain things, but it had nothing to do with him. Because at the end of the day, I can honestly say, I'm so grateful that my kids have somebody like this in their life.
Yeah.
He's incredible with them. He loves them so much. And for them to have another male figure in their life that will be there for them through thick and thin is something that I feel so grateful for. And that's another thing that I really wanted to touch on, because I'm sure for a lot of people that go through separation, it's very difficult for them to accept another person in the child's life.
Yeah.
But as you do work on yourself, you realize your reaction had nothing to do with that person. And I hope one day he realizes that my reactions toward him had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with where I was in my life. And like I said, I can honestly say I'm so grateful for who he is to my children. And I love that my kids have a stepfather like that in their life.
Yeah. That's a demonstration of your bigness, truly.
Yeah, well, again, if I didn't do this work, I wouldn't be able to say this.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people, when they go through that and they have their child living with another man or another girl, it's really upsetting to them. But when you understand that you're not angry because of this person, you may not even know this person. I know this person, and he's a great guy. But somebody in another situation may not even know the person. They're just angry that somebody else is with their children.
Yeah.
But when you start to do this work and understand that your feeling has nothing to do with the situation, it's when you peel back layers and discover more about yourself.
Totally. Love that. What would you say to someone that is so skeptical, that is, this is all BS, the work's BS, that has a lot of fear around opening up or looking internally?
Pat, I've had people like that. I've had friends like that. You work with friends of mine. And I know this because they speak to me about it. A lot of people would be skeptical about going and speaking to anybody. But when you see these interviews, you see that these are people that would not go on camera and talk about this. Majority of the people that I see that have done these interviews, I know them. And there are a few that are comfortable enough to sit on camera and talk about their feelings, but majority of them would not. And when you see the place that they're at, there's no denying what sort of life you can create from doing this work. And I've gotten a lot of phone calls from people that have done these interviews and people that have watched them and just really, really given full support to what it is that they're doing. And for them to be able to be in a vulnerable place and come out on camera and express their feelings, it's really inspired other people.
And I think that's the gift, and that's the deep gratitude I have for you and everybody else who has had the courage to come up here, fully open themselves up vulnerably and share. And I know it's only for the purpose of other people. It's only for the purpose of serving others.
I'm not doing this for anything. I don't have social media. I'm not looking to profit off this. I don't benefit from it at all. To be honest, I actually feel extremely uncomfortable like being here on camera. But again, like I said, if there's just one boy that sees that guy that's driving a Rolls Royce or driving a Ferrari and online in these lavish vacations and thinking like, you know, like my life is so horrible. I promise you, it's just a facade. And I was that person. And I had nothing. I had everything, yet I had nothing.
So if you were going to give one piece of advice and tell people to prioritize something, rather than the original cars, watches, vacations, and you can have all those things too. I love beautiful things too.
Yeah.
What would you tell them to prioritize?
You need to prioritize yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to prioritize your mental health.
Yeah.
And even if you have children, like, you used this analogy with me one time. You said, when, God forbid, the plane is going down,
Yeah.
who do they tell you to put the air mask on first?
Yeah.
Your child or you?
Yeah.
They tell you to put it on yourself first. And the same thing goes for life.
Yeah.
If you're in a bad place,
Yeah.
you can't dictate to your kids this life that you want them to live, but you're not living it.
Yeah.
You can't think that you're going to be taking drugs and going out and drinking.
Yeah.
And your kids may not see it, but I promise you, they feel it.
Yeah.
And you can't think that you're going to be able to grow up and say, don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Don't spend all your money.
Yeah.
If they see you doing that, they're going to do the same.
Yeah. And do you notice sometimes that parents will want to do a lot for their kids, but not live that truth themselves?
I think a lot of parents, the life that they're not living, they want to instill on their child.
Yeah.
And they're still not living that life, yet you want to push your child to live it.
Yeah.
But it's not possible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. But the second that you find peace in your life, your peace is going to be your child's peace.
Yeah.
I promise you
Yeah.
that will be the case, because I see it in mine.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you, truly, from like the bottom of my heart, for being here. Thank you for sharing so generously with so many people in your life. I've seen the impact and the ripple effect of that. Thank you for who you are for your children. Thank you for who you are for me. Thank you for being here with me today. I love you.
I love you too, Pat. And I'm really proud of what you're doing. Honestly, like, both of us, we grew up with very little, and our idea of success was building companies and getting money and buying homes and having cars and taking our kids on vacation, and that was our idea of succeeding.
Yeah.
But you realized that you got everything too that you thought would make you happy, and you had nothing.
Yeah.
And you realized that you didn't want to pass that down to your children. You realized that all of the things that we went through growing up, you wanted to fix, so your kids didn't have to pay for the mistakes that our parents didn't correct. And again, I'm not scolding our dad. Our dad did the best that he could. But you've put so much work into bettering your life. And I always say to people, the way that you are so successful with what you do, it's because you live and breathe this life. And there's a lot of people that practice spirituality and they say, I'm going to be a life coach, or I want to make a difference in this person's life. But then when the camera's off or you're done sending your emails, you're living an opposite life that you're preaching to other people. And people can feel that inauthenticity. And the reason why people can put the trust that they do in you is because you really, really live and breathe the work that you practice. And again, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm going to give you a hug.
Thank you for listening to Life Mastery Stories. If you are curious about how this life mastery methodology could work for you, click the link in the description. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share with anyone who you think might benefit from hearing it. See you next time.